The Oakland Raiders travel to Denver on Sunday to play their longtime AFC West division rival Denver Broncos. Both these teams currently sitting at 1-2. Coincidentally, both these teams' lone win came over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, when you look at their two losses, I guess Denver's losses are definitely more impressive, if losses can be impressive. They lost on the road in Atlanta and last week at home to Houston. Now, Atlanta and Houston are a combined 6-0 on the year. They're among the best teams in the league. Problem is, Broncos fans heading into the year, they were hoping that their team was going to be among the best teams in the league. After all, they won the AFC West last year, and they brought in Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, to run the offense this year. After they beat Pittsburgh in Week 1, expectations really soared sky high for this team, but they've been brought a little bit down to reality over the last couple of weeks. We see that Manning clearly does not have the arm strength he used to have. Seems to be uncomfortable throwing the ball down the field. Remember, when he played in Indianapolis, they threw plenty of intermediate dink and dunk type passes. They also threw plenty of downfield passes. You picture all those times Manning would throw down the field to Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Really haven't seen that a whole lot in this Denver Broncos offense through 3 weeks. And the Atlanta Falcons a couple of weeks ago seemed to really catch on, and they almost dared Denver to beat them downfield, which Denver was not able to do. Now, in saying that, it's not like this offense has been bad by any means. In every game, at some point of the game, the offense has been able to get rolling, put some points up on the board. Even last week against Houston, there were a couple of drives there where Manning looked like the old Peyton Manning. And this week, they're playing a defense in the Oakland Raiders that will never be confused with the Houston Texan defense or the Pittsburgh Steelers defense or even the Atlanta Falcons defense. This Raiders defense is not very good. 26th against the pass right now, 26th in scoring defense, 23rd in rushing defense, 23rd in total defense. Really is not much of a bright spot for this Oakland Raiders defense. They're just sort of overall a bad unit, leaky, similar to what they were last year, so I know Oakland Raider fans are probably not stunned. But still, head coach Dennis Allen, who came over from Denver, coincidentally, was a defensive coordinator at Denver last year. He was expected to improve this defense, and maybe he will. I mean, all those rankings I just spit out at you, most of those are better than where the Oakland Raiders were ranked last year on defense. So I guess some improvement is being made. And the good thing, if you're an Oakland Raider fan, they've got the offense to outscore some people. I mean, they upset Pittsburgh last week by outscoring them, not by limiting Ben Roethlisberger. Going into that game, and as you may know, if you saw the picks video I did, I was on Oakland in that game. I just had a strange feeling they were going to win. But I struggled to explain myself because I struggled to explain how the Oakland Raiders defense was going to stop Ben Roethlisberger. And sure enough, they didn't. It's just Carson Palmer in that offense outscored the Steelers. Carson Palmer last week, that's as good as I've seen him look in 5 years. I mean, that was vintage Carson Palmer. If he plays like that, Oakland could beat anybody, including the Denver Broncos. Because Denver, if you're going to get Denver, the secondary is where they're vulnerable. Now, Denver's defense has improved this year. They've improved in the secondary, ranking 15th in the league right now after ranking in the high 20s last year, really in most statistical categories on defense. But still, the Denver defense, their strength is in the front seven, which is good news for Oakland. They haven't run the ball very well this year. They are a passing team. Even Darren McFadden, their great running back, he's been more involved in the passing game than he has so far in the running game, even though last week he appeared to get on track a little bit against the Steelers. Total in this game, two totals, 47.5, 48.5 on BETDAQ. Denver, once again, a 6.5 point favorite. Those are high totals, and I do expect a lot of scoring in this game. As I said last week, I really wasn't able to picture Oakland's defense stopping Ben Roethlisberger in that Pittsburgh passing attack. Sure enough, they didn't. This week, same story. Peyton Manning, even though he hasn't shown the ability to throw it down the field this year, he's been plenty accurate on those short and intermediate routes. And I see Peyton Manning picking apart this secondary. I see Denver's offense moving the ball all day long. And after what I saw from the Oakland offense last week, I don't see any reason why they can't move the ball all day long on this Denver offense too. So I do lean towards the over here. Again, 47.5, 48.5, the two totals on BETDAQ. In terms of the line, Denver a 6.5 point favorite. Listen, I want to lean towards Oakland in this game. To me, this feels like a lot of points for that offense I saw last week. I mean, I watched the entire second half of that Raiders-Steelers game and was so impressed with Carson Palmer. And given that team 6.5 points right now, well, but then again, that team is Oakland. That team is the Oakland Raiders. We know what the Oakland Raiders' history is, and based on the first two games of this season, they look like the same old Raiders, losing a mistake-filled game to the San Diego Chargers and then going and getting thumped on the road by the Miami Dolphins. So certainly don't trust Oakland with my money at this point. I guess if I had to bet on this game, I'd bet on Denver. Well, if I had to bet on this game, actually, I would bet on the over, and I might make that bet. Not sure. We're going to put up the picks here in a couple of days on the site, but do lean towards the over here. Think a lot of points will be scored. Wouldn't be shocked if the Oakland Raiders went in there and were able to pull off an upset victory. However, wouldn't surprise me at all either if Denver won this game by 30.